Oh, yeah. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Bang Out Volleyball. My name is Brian. Today we're going to be reacting to, you know what? Let me just show you. We're going to be reacting to the intro to plyometrics, weighted and core exercises for volleyball athletes, training with Jordan with MKVB Volleyball. Now, again, if you guys have not checked out his channel, go ahead and subscribe. I just got back from USAV Nationals, so I'm ready to react to some videos, make some new content for you guys. So enjoy. I have a lot of big projects going on today, so I want to make sure I get this video. But let's see what he's got. I love his intro. Let me just replay it again. Just love it. Ooh, very catchy. Very
so
catchy.
We'll do a little bit of a plyo warm up, and then we'll get into a little bit of plyo stuff. And like I said, there's like so many different levels of plyos and stuff as well too. So we'll go through a couple like basic ones, and then we'll go maybe a little bit more advanced. And then as we go through our plyos, it's gonna kind of build through those progressions as well too.
So when doing plyos, what's one thing any beginner should just kind of understand or know about plyos?
One beginner should know about plyos.
That's a good question.
I think, yeah, the point of plyos is kind of like that SSC, so the stretch shortening goal.
The even answer is, I think the goal of plyos is to get used to like the fast. There's a few things. Obviously, I think plyos is important for reaction, to work on landing mechanics, to get your body adapted to absorbing force, and for deceleration. I might be missing something else, but those are all important things to have as an athlete, especially if you are a very...
So the stretch shortening cycle, just about like making yourself more springy in a sense. So if you want to be more springy, you kind of have to do that plyometric work, which is just like pogos, jumping, quick reaction. So any beginner wants to know, it's just like you kind of have to do some jumping stuff, right?
I agree. And if you want to be a safe jumper, it's not all about the cool looking stuff. You have to, if you want to be able to jump, you have to jump. And if you want to be able to land safely, you have to work on landing safely.
So most of that stuff is from our ankle complex. Like there's that triple extension of like the ankle, the knee, and the hip. Yep. But most of that springiness kind of comes from just that ankle foot complex, right? Okay. I'll put up some cones here.
That's actually something I didn't know, where the ankle is mainly, I mean, it makes sense. But I would assume, obviously, you want triple extension in your jumping for the most part. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet.
For a little bit of distance.
See, now we're getting to the plyo. I feel like this is a lot of the stuff you guys we're wanting to like learn and kind of see what I do, and what better way to start us off and get us on the same workout program.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just start with heel walks. So trying to bring our toes as high as we can the whole time, keeping that knee locked out, and we're just gonna walk to the cone.
Heel walk's very good for strengthening your tibialis anterior.
Then we'll actually walk backwards back.
Okay, so heel walk.
This is also a really good injury prevention exercise.
Stand my heel and pointing my toes as high as I can.
Yeah, backwards is a little tricky.
A little bit harder going backwards, not gonna lie to you. So yeah, guys, it does look simple, but definitely a challenge.
No, I'm sure his tips are on fire.
And the easy stuff or the simple stuff is something you guys do not want to overlook.
Yeah, cool. And then we'll do outside feet, so same thing, knees kind of straight. So just walking the outside of feet as much as we can forward, and then we'll also go backwards.
This is all injury
just trying
prevention.
to get like our body used to being in this position with their ankles, trying to strengthen this position.
Yeah. If you guys are worried about ankle sprain, the most common ankle sprain is actually like an inverted ankle like this, which will damage the TF, your ATFL actually.
And he's not wrong, because this position is actually very, very important, because obviously most ankle sprains for volleyball athletes is in this position. Funny story, not funny, but it happened literally a month before Nationals. 2019, I grade 3 ankle sprain myself. My foot literally went into a J in this position, and it was the most painful, saddest thing I've ever experienced. And I was out for 8 months, so I'm like, this is brutal. This actually happened to me this year again in 2024, probably 2 weeks before USAV Nationals. I almost sprained my ankle, stepped on our middle, Brandon. He was underneath me. The set was inside, and almost tweaked my ankle. But instead of me like keeping a stance of me standing and putting all the pressure on it, I just fell all the way to the ground so that all the pressure is just dispersed. But yeah, very, very scary position to be in, but it's a position that you want to be strong in.
How bad it is, you can actually destroy all 3 ligaments. But the most common one is damage to your ATFL, and you are stretching that ligament by keeping your foot kind of in an inverted position and having some axial loading going on.
Yeah, and you can do inside too. We won't do the inside, but next one will be up on our toes, and then we're just gonna, same thing, nice knees locked out, and we're just gonna cross over, forward, and then behind.
Interesting. Never really seen this one, but I'll add it to my routine.
And this one's just kind of my basic plyo warm-up that people can do.
Yeah, and these are all stabilizer muscles, guys.
Oh yeah. About this,
You'll feel your toes, you'll feel your calves.
Or down in school. It's up to you.
These are important positions to be strong in and
then,
stable
usually you
in.
can do this, 1 to 3 times, depending on how much you want to get warmed up. Now we'll just do normal pogos. So feet together and just kind of using our feet as paddles.
Yep.
So as we do pogos, we kind of want to, like people say, bring your toes back up. We don't necessarily
No, you
need
don't
to bring
have to do
them
that.
all the way back up, but we don't want to keep our foot like this the whole time we're doing pogos. Almost want to try and bring it up a little bit and then slap that floor, kind of bring it back up. So kind of like paddles to the floor.
Am I going that way or just going?
Yeah, we'll go straight and then we'll go actually same thing backwards as well too.
Okay. And then you want me jumping backwards?
Yeah, and then I would even try to recommend like a little bit more touches in between here.
Okay.
Almost like if you could get 10
Quick
of
touches,
those jumps
quick
in
touches.
between. Nice, good. And then same thing. You could do this like a couple times. We'll do the same thing except laterally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to say, these aren't the most sexy exercises. These aren't the type of videos that go viral. Well, for MKVB, this will go viral. But like on Instagram, these videos would not go viral because they'll be like, what the heck's you doing? It's so weird. Just squat heavy, all that good stuff. No, these are important exercises for volleyball athletes.
Nice. And then try to be nice and quick.
Am I being honest? Have I done these before? Yes, I have. These are important positions.
Yeah, so many different versions of pogos. Those are kind of the basics. Same thing if you're starting as a beginner, doing it on the spot is probably best. And then you add some movement. We'll do the same kind of concept, but we'll just do one leg. So we'll actually just do lateral. So same thing,
Single
trying to get that
leg.
nice slap on the floor, and then just kind of using the other leg for a little bit of momentum. And then we'll go one leg there, keep the same leg back, and then we'll switch legs.
This is way harder than it looks, guys. Way, way harder.
Nice.
If your muscles like fatiguing already,
so
if
big
you're
one with this,
casting
try
already,
not to let that
it's already
heel
too hard. Again, this is something you want to
floor.
expose yourself a lot to.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, like you can do like a split stance pogos, but this is like a good way to start the base. Move on to this kind of stuff. So this one will actually work good because this is going to be some like landing work.
Oh yeah.
And
There you go.
Like you were saying, we all are kind of wild with our bodies, and
Like I said, landing mechanics,
That's me.
very important.
yeah, her landing is
It's just not Marco. It's every athlete, to be honest. Every single athlete lands weird.
A lot of injuries happen, especially in volleyball, is landing. That's kind of what happened with me as well too. Even like contact or not contact, the more stable we can be. So we're just basically going to be up on the box. We're going to hang 1 foot over and then basically just trying to land nice and controlled in that quarter spot. Kind of hold it for 2 seconds and then we'll step back up.
Sweet.
Nice, very soft landing. You can barely hear it. Oh yeah, that's good.
That's what
Oh
I need
yeah.
more fix my landing for real.
Now, some of you guys might be asking, does this actually work? Is this actually important? Yes, this actually works. This is so important. I had, like, as a coach, I have seen athletes where they land on one leg every single time. Straight-legged, no force absorption, and I knew in the long run they would rip something apart. And I'm not going to name the athlete, but now they have an ACL. I think ACL, they tore their ACL, and it was the exact leg that I saw them landing on one leg. Did I tell that? Like, they came up to me and they were like, hey, can you help me fix my one-legged landing? And I was like, honestly, I can't, because right now I'm your coach. I'm not like a personal trainer. I'm not in my personal training phase with you, right? And being a coach and being a personal trainer, very, very different. I mean, obviously they have their avenues where they intertwine, but for the most part, as a volleyball coach, my goal is to make you a better volleyball player. As a trainer, my goal is to help you with injury prevention. Can those things intertwine? Yes. Did I say yes, just drop on both legs? She tried. I mean, they tried. They couldn't do it. And for that reason, I was like, that's why coaching and training are separate things. Yeah, they did end up tearing up their ACL. They were out from volleyball for years. I don't even think they even play anymore. But yeah, it just sucks to see. So work on your mechanics, guys. This is so important. I can't emphasize how important this is.
I'd say
It's like so boring, but like these are the things that are just so important to just help you get to the next level, because you can keep getting better at volleyball. But at the end of the day, you get injured, you're just not going to get better at volleyball. You got to maintain your health. You got to maintain your landing mechanics and injury prevention exercises.
beginner one of this one is just being like up on your toes and then just dropping, right? So,
Yeah,
and then
so
you start building up towards like a higher box. And then there's times in programming where you actually want to do a landing from higher than actually when you jump too.
Sweet.
But yeah, so there's kind of the basics. And then we'll actually do the same thing. We'll just do it with the 1 foot. So I'm landing on the foot that's hanging out and I'm going to bring my other
single
foot
leg. This
in
is
front of
hard.
me. So I'm just going to be landing controlled.
This is really hard.
Interesting. Guys, this is like
If you land, so the reason why single leg is so hard, you need your stabilizer muscles, which are your glutes and your adductors, to really, really fire up. For example, my right leg, I understand, is very, very prone to injury. Whenever I land on my right leg, I can feel my adductors just not even want to fire up. And when it does, it just like tightens up and cramps up. So my right leg, my right adductor is very, very weak. My left leg can land however position it wants. It'll be fine. It's very, very stable. But I know my right leg potential for injury here. If you have a great coach, they can also see that as well, because it'll just depend on how well you land single-legged, right? Let's see how Marco does on his landing.
Specialty on my left leg.
But I feel like we would have the same problems, right? But let's see. But he just looks way better than me. Oh, look at that shake. Yeah, see, that happens to me too. That's very, very hard.
Especially with this one is like kind of we're trying to fire this whole leg. So as we land on it, don't want the knee.
Yeah, you want the knee to come out so the glutes engage.
Knee to cave in, don't want the knee to go out. You want to get nice, kind of stable over that knee.
Very, very hard.
Feeling our glute, feeling our quad, feeling our hammy, feeling like everything just firing, controlled. Obviously, same this with the drop. On the one leg, you get a lower box, but we know Marco's a little bit more
He's advanced.
athletic, so we can push him a little bit.
Look at that. Left leg is way more stable.
Sweet. The only one thing I'd add is trying to keep that chest up a little bit. I suppose sometimes a little bit. Yeah. So now we're going to do depth drops. Sweet. Or depth drops to jumps, I should say. So basically, we're going to go back to the 2 foot, and then so we're going to land 2 foot, we're going to jump up, and then we're going to land on 1 foot. Okay. So a little bit more realistic of like jumping up and landing on 1 foot.
How high do I need to be jumping up?
Just think more right now. We'll just think like try to be quick off the ground. Doesn't have to be like, probably like
I
60%.
was joking. Sorry, I like to joke.
Just trying to work more on that, controlled landing still as well. Yeah.
Oh, into a single leg.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Very hard.
Nice. That was good. Nice form on that one too. Just the balance and stability.
Oh yeah, look at that knee cave in, bro.
Yeah, the hard part about this is not the jump, it's the stabilizing at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll switch legs there. So either way, I usually cue it as like if I'm gonna lead with this leg and jump off with 2, I'm gonna land on this leg. Okay. So something like this would be like do 5 to 8 reps each side, 2 to 5 sets, depending on where you're at in your training, where you're at your level.
Ooh,
nice.
Good stability there.
Damn.
There you go.
Okay. So, I mean, like I said, there's so many ways to progress. You could start adding like drop.
I want to add some of you guys who don't know anything about training. Oh my God, his knee's caving in. He's going to get injured. He shouldn't do that exercise. Bro, it's fine. He's an athlete. He's been in this position multiple times. He is strong in those athletes. Now, just because an athlete gets their knee caved in once, it doesn't mean it's the end all be all. As an athlete, you're gonna be in those positions. Your body's naturally gonna make you strong in those positions. The only time it gets really bad is if you are weak in those positions, right? Knee caves in, your body's never been exposed to it, your body doesn't understand it, boom, you tear something up, right? But yeah, just because you see Marco and his knee caves in, it doesn't mean he's gonna injure himself in training. In fact, you're less likely to get injured during training compared to actual sport itself, right? Because on the court, everything is just so fast-paced movement. Then in training, you're being intentional with how you move. So the injury in training, very, very low percentage of it happening.
To a lateral jump, you could do like we're doing reactive jump to then a broad jump, or like so many things you can.
These are one of my
Plyo
favorite
or,
exercises.
Stuff to apply, but like that's probably a couple that I would start with as volleyball players. Is just
good
pogos,
foundation.
Control your landing.
These are good exercises for a good foundation. Not a lot of people don't even know how to do these.
Then a little bit of the depth drop to a jump. Cool. So let's lift some. How are you feeling right now?
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty warm.
Yeah, after all those jumping, I'm sure your nervous system is just like fired up and just ready to lift weights. So I'm assuming Marco is very, very strong, but let's see what he's got. Oh, we have an athlete in the background. Let's see what type of athlete he is.
Hey, nice.
There's an athlete back here. I'm assuming, I can't even see it. I don't even know if he plays a sport. I'm not sure what sport this would be.
Quickly grab a water bottle though. I left it in my bag.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. That might be a general population client.
We'll see if this set up good. So if you want to just like stand in that squat rack, we'll do those quarter squats. So yeah, again.
Quarter squats.
So for kind of, I guess, workout sequence, it's kind of, warm up, plyos, explosiveness, heavy lifting, heavy strength, and then you kind of get into your like lower weights, higher reps kind of thing, right? So it's like fast before slow, heavy before light, and then like complicated before simple. So that makes sense.
True, very true. Now, I want
to,
for all the general pop people that don't understand training, what he said, very, very true. You want the complex before the simple. You want the heaviest, most explosive in the beginning. If you start off with the light weights first, when you get to the heavy sets, the heavy compound exercise, heavy complex exercises at the end, you're not going to be able to produce that much force. So why not train your body to produce as much force early on, and then you focus on your accessory work later, or your low volume, low weight, high repetition exercises towards the end. So lifting heavy right from the bat. So lifting heavy, doing the complex exercise right from the start, very, very important. But it's definitely key to progressing long term. But let me give you guys another example. When you do the heavy compound exercises, you activate more of your type 2 fibers, right? Your explosive muscle fibers. As you get towards the end of your workout, it starts to switch over to your type 1 fibers, which are your endurance muscles. So if you want to be explosive, type 2. If you want to be, start with your type 2. If you want to have better endurance, just go and do long rep exercises. I don't even know how to freaking word this. Let me put it in another view. If you start with your high rep exercises, and then at the end of your workout you do your heavy exercises, you're probably not going to be able to tap into your type 2 fibers, which are your explosive fibers. So yeah, it would just be a type 1 fiber workout at the end of the day. So you want to start with your type 2 muscle fibers, your complex heavy lifts right from the start. That was so tough to explain. That was a terrible explanation, but whatever.
We'll just do one. I guess I can't necessarily demo completely, but so setting up under the bar and getting that quarter squat, elbows down, and then before we actually explode up, almost want everything nice and tight, right? Explode up and then kind of reset. You can let the kind of weights drop. Doesn't have to be a controlled down. But yeah, we'll just do 3 reps. Same thing, resetting after every rep, getting nice and tight, getting everything like feeling good. We're just kind of working on that fast concentric motion of like exploding up kind of thing.
Sweet.
So we'll start, you can just do a couple with the bar, just so I can see and then make sure it's good, and then we'll add some of the weight on too. The one thing I would sorry Mark, to cue it is like if you go back down, tuck in the core a little bit, so instead of thinking stick the butt out, almost like round back, and then yeah, put the hips forward, keeping everything low, and then try to bring those elbows forward.
Look at that.
Yeah, there
He's
you go.
nice and tight now.
Straight up.
Oh,
nice.
He's gonna lift so much weight. Should we guess how much he can quarter squat? I'm gonna think like 363.
Getting your feet all good, reset, even like get loose, and then almost be tight again.
Well, I guess it depends on this. I think it'll depend how many reps he's doing here. Let me see first, then I'll give a number.
Nice. Let's drive up even faster too. Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna say at least 225, at least 225 or more.
One more.
I think he could do like 315,
Nice.
maybe even more than 315.
I love quarter squats.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, a lot of people like these ones too. Another thing too is like there's times where you can even like actually explode up onto the toes too, get that full triple extension.
Yeah.
But right now we'll just kind of stick with like exploding up and then keeping our heels on the ground. But yeah, I feel like you could probably even go quicker with this weight too,
faster
right?
with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
If his goal is like super fast, I'm gonna say like at least maybe 275.
Because yeah, even like you want to think of almost like wanting to break through and explode up as high as you can, almost like still like that jumping mentality.
Yeah.
When he's exploding up, you don't want his movement to be slow. So if he's at a weight where he's being explosive but it looks slow, might as well go down in weight.
Yeah, usually with something like this, you probably want to take,
I think it's 185 on the bar.
depending on how much percentage, I'd say at least like a 2-minute break between each. So ideally closer to probably even like that 3.
Yeah.
Especially if like you're doing like a 3-plate, grinding through it, right? Because then you're really getting all those muscle fibers firing. And
Yeah.
And Jordan's right. It's a 2 to 3 minute break, sometimes even more. But yeah, you want to be closer to the 3-minute break mark.
want that recovery. But
And yeah, like the rule of thumb, it's like what, between 3 to 5 minutes, then your muscles should be good to go back again, type stuff. So I feel like when you are like doing like a heavy workout, I'd say like have a minimum of 3 minutes. If you are impatient, just sit out.
yeah, I know that's the first part, right? Like, oh, I feel good. I'm ready to
Yeah.
go.
Nah, you gotta have
No,
that
you will
3-minute break.
tire yourself
Yeah.
out.
And then once again, like you go to like say like just a hamstring curl on a machine, like a minute rest is probably good enough kind of thing. So that's the idea, almost like wanting to explode off. Okay, let's drive this one as fast
wanna
up.
see.
Nice, there you go.
Ooh,
Good.
I'm thinking
That's
maybe
kind of the
225.
feeling. That last one, it's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are like not used
You
to
can
the
probably
barbell,
do more.
don't be afraid to use a pad because we want you to be as comfortable as you can, but also like really focusing on the workout. So there's no shame in using a pad.
Yeah, one thing with
No,
that,
Buttle, no, nobody use a pad. Your back and your spine hurts because because you don't have a pad. No, don't use the pad, guys. Just get your body strong enough to use the barbell. Get comfortable with it. Obviously, I'm just kidding. Yeah, especially if you're a beginner and you're not comfortable with the bar on your back, use the pad. And then also build your back muscles up. Just build your freaking back muscles up so that you can just have the bar on your back and not having it just laying on a piece of bone like your scapula and your probably T3. Anyway, get back to it.
too is like, especially if we're exploding up, when we're grabbing that bar and our elbows are forward, we almost want to be like thinking, pull that
Pulling it down.
bar down. Yeah, I don't know if you've been cued that. And that gauges just relax a bit more, and then that keeps us tight. So when we go up, it's not like we go up and then the bar
then it
won't.
comes up.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh shit, and then it comes back kind of
Yeah,
down.
that was
so.
my mistake with it.
So it's like, yeah, being super tight in there. But yeah, we'll just do one more set of this kind of stuff.
Sweet.
Ideally, could probably like, if this was like, we were working to 2 plates, we'd probably do maybe 2 more sets at that 2 plates. But how does that feel?
Definitely a little bit harder just to focus on keeping it down because like
Also, sorry, I just want to mention that it doesn't matter how much, it does matter how much weight he's lifting, but it just depends on the athlete. The goal is just move the weight fast. Right? Don't let it slow down because we're going to start being like powerlifters, and powerlifters move really slow when they do athletic things. So it's important to, choose the right weight that still allows you to move fast. So the number of the weight doesn't even matter. If you're at 45 pounds and you're moving it fast and it slows down when you put another 20 pounds on each side, just stick to the 45,
I feel like when I did my quarter squats, I was doing them a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Because like I was worried about the bar coming up.
Right.
So I focused a lot more on holding it down.
Okay.
So now for me, it's just trying to find a sweet spot.
I mean, that in
So,
between.
yeah.
Like I said, there's definitely times where you want to grind through, right? Like 3-4 plates of that quarter squat, that last little finisher. But there's also times where we're just working on that last quarter for explosiveness too. A little bit lighter weight never hurts too. You can always go more reps, less reps. Okay, let's get into a trap bar lift after that for just now like strength. Like that was explosive, lighter weight, and then we do like a heavy trap bar kind of thing.
Sweet.
So we'll do a couple sets of that. You good for it?
Yep,
We'll figure
I'm
it
down
out.
for it.
Yeah. So this guy, right, same kind of stance. We almost want to be sitting down, keeping that kind of chest up. A couple cues is like thinking about turning your wrists out. Same thing, kind of engages those lats a bit more. And the next one is like sticking here nice and tight, and then almost thinking of pushing my feet through the floor as opposed to picking up the weight. And it's like kind of the big cues that helps people kind of get the trap bar deadlift a little bit more functional. So there's like trap bar squats where you're going to do more of the squats, so that like sitting back would kind of help and drive up. Nice.
Yeah, I want to like engage before I go. That's what Jordan was saying. So like I'm gonna grab the bar, sit back down, and just create a little bit of tension.
Yeah.
And then push through the floor as opposed to you like picking the weight up with your arm.
Nice. We'll do 5 reps of this. Nice. Marco's doing a really good job of, if you look at from the side, is like the bar should kind of be going almost straight up, and right now everything's pretty good. Nice. Sweet. We'll add some more weights here. Be the same kind of rest period, obviously, after the first, the workout or the building up sets.
Yeah.
You can take a little bit less of a rest period, but once you start getting into the weight that you're actually using for your lifts, that's where, the 3-minute rest kind of come back into play.
So how many times a week should you be training like the quarter squat, heavy squats, and then this trap bar?
Well, like I said, depending, like so many things depend. The individuality of it too as well.
Yeah.
How much you're playing in season. I think like
That's a good question. Before you even answers, it does depend on your playing. So let's say you're playing twice a week at a high level. I would say even once or twice a week of training would be great. If you're playing once a week and it's just like one tournament, or like let's say you're not even playing enough, obviously 3 would still be great, right? If you're in season, the goal is to lift at least once or twice a week. Let's see what his answer is. Off season, so in the better answer. In season, train once or twice a week. Off season, you're training 3 to 4 times a week. Pre-season, you're training 2 to 3 times a week. That's my answer.
if you were doing a full body, like 2 of these sessions, like an hour or 15, hour and a half, 2 sessions a week, like would be like pretty beneficial. A lot of people I think try to,
I feel like 2 is like minimum.
it's always like those splits where you got to work out 4 or 5, 6, 7
Yeah.
days a week, and it's good. But you also got to consider playing, you got to consider rest, you got to consider, there's a difference between
A lot to
like
consider.
adapting and recovering.
Yeah.
A lot of people spend so much time recovering that they don't actually get that adaptation. So yeah, like starting off with once a week is great, right? Once a week, build to 2 a week, advance, you can get to 3 a week. And then once you get more than 3 a week, then you start adding those splits too, right? So
Sweet.
yeah, dependent. If you said you're doing 3-4 days a week with a split, right?
Yeah.
Adding this.
Bro, this
I guess,
guy in the back with the tennis ball, love it.
a sequence once a week, and then if you added like 2-3 days of another split, I think would be pretty good for you. And then obviously once that starts feeling like you're feeling good, you feel like you got that kind of hang on, then you add another one into it. So
Yeah, man. Just keep building on top of it of what you guys already do.
Bro, I love being a trainer because you could just go around, play with the equipment, and freaking, lift whenever you want. It's so fun. But it is a lot of energy. So the calories you burn and the foods you got to eat, whoo, get to eat way more than the average person.
Still get this trap bar work.
Explode, baby, blow.
Nice, good form. Yeah, so rep range for this too, like 1 to 5 reps, especially as you get into like your max weight kind of thing too. So
Yeah.
how's it feeling right now?
Not bad at all.
Let's add, we'll just add 15 each. Like I know, like same thing. Like I said, you could probably do more weight than this stuff, but we'll keep it towards the lighter side. And yeah, like the final kind of weights, you're looking to do 80 to 100% of your 1 rep max for like these kind of weight lifts or this rep. So whereas like explosiveness, I think studies show you can get away with like as low as like 30%.
That's true.
Moving. So I think explosives kind of like that 30 to 80.
Yeah, when you're doing explosive work, you can do 30%. Damn, imagine that, bro. 30% of my back squat, but doing it as fast as possible, which is insane. I tried it one time. It just felt so freaking light, but that's what the research shows.
The grinding strengths, muscle building, hypertrophies, kind of.
So there's obviously, he's going to go over percentages about like each type of explosive work. So when you're working on strength, you want to work in like the 85 to 100% rep range. That's going to be like 1 to 6 reps. If you are working for hypertrophy, you want to be at like, I want to say 70 to 85%, about 6 to 12 reps. And if you're working for endurance, it's going to be that 15 to 30 reps. I forgot the percentage for it, but I want to say it's like 30% because like it's going to be very, very light, but also you're moving very slow. And then if you're doing like percentage-based stuff like explosive work, it's going to be 30 to 70%. As you get closer to season, you want to be as close to body weight as possible. So during season, you're going to be lifting like closer to 30%. But in the preseason, you'd basically start from 70%. And as it gets closer to in season, you go 70, 60, 50, 40, and then 30% while you're in season. And then there's also times where you have to program strength work in season and lift heavy at some point. So it just depends. This is why it's important to have a strength coach, because they can detail that out for you guys and plan it for you guys. But anyway, back to it.
40 to 60%.
Yeah,
So
60% range.
Yeah.
Do you ever do like reps in reserve for prescribing exercises?
Yeah. For most, especially for athletes in season, like it's usually always at least
You guys don't
2
understand.
reps in reserve.
If you guys don't understand reps in reserve, it's just how many more reps do you have left in the tank, right? So obviously there's a RPE scale of on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard was it? If you finish a set, the question becomes how many reps did you have left in the tank? Usually it's like 3 or 2, sometimes 5. If an athlete's very different because it depends just how much they're playing. If they just got off from league at night and then the next day they're training and they're like, yo, felt like I had one rep in the tank, and it was just like, bro, it was only 50% of your weight. We got to go even lighter so you don't tank. You have to go based on your athlete's feeling, like how they feel, or their reps in reserve, RPE, because you don't know what's going on. Because what if they just didn't eat enough? What if they didn't sleep well? What if they're stressed out? Because you're doing them harm by stressing. Like working out is a stressor. You're doing them more harm by adding more load if it's unnecessary. And their point of recovery could also be not to the point of no return, but it's just going to take them longer to recover. And like Jordan said, they're not going to get that adaptation that an athlete wants or the coach wants because they're just not recovering that well. Sometimes I'll train athletes and be like, yo, everything feels really awful for you today, and that's what you're telling me? Just go home and sleep. Go home, go eat. Enjoy your day. Sometimes them just going out and doing happy stuff, I was going to say the S word, but doing happy stuff allows them to de-stress, right? And that actually is more beneficial to the athlete than just putting more weight on the bar or just keeping them in training to lift more weights. Stress management and mental health has been very important to collegiate athletes. I think our years now, it's been a lot better. Back in the day, I would say it was just like work as hard as you can and we'll get better at the sport. But now it's gone to, all right, we got better programming, we got better coaches, we got better mental health coaches. Overall, everything is just a little bit better now, and it's just continuing to get better. So yeah, that was my rant.
Kind of thing, right? Off season, or if you're working towards like a peak in your phase for your workout program, then you can start getting to that 1 rep reserve or even maxing out. But I would like maxing out, to me, like finding your 1 rep max is probably like once a year, maybe twice a year.
Yes.
Depending on the athlete, depending on the sport.
He's absolutely right. Yes. You only max out those highlight videos you see of people maxing out like 800 pounds or whatever. They only do that once or twice a year. Obviously, if they're a strong man, it looks like they're maxing out all the time, but those guys are just super strong. As volleyball athletes, we only want to max out once or twice a year because throughout the rest of the year, we're trying to build a strong foundation, an injury-proof body that when we do max out, it's like, okay, I have a new max, and let me work based on that max so that when I'm in season, I know what percentages I need to be working in based on my 1 rep max and like the time I'm in season and whenever playoffs is. It's this whole complicated like situation that's hard to explain on the internet, but when you have someone who's very, very qualified to talk about that stuff and like understands that stuff, they make it so simple for you and so understandable for you that while you're in training, because remember, you only have about an hour to an hour and a half to train with your coach, that if you know, if they're explaining, I mean, obviously a good coach can explain everything, right? But there's not enough time to explain the whole program. But there's ways to show it, like through a graph or based on like the time you have, based on whenever playoffs is. You reverse engineer the programming to see where your program fits best and like what suits you, and like when you can hit a PR, when you shouldn't, when you're going to be fried, when your games are, when you should just feel fresh, when should we just take a recovery day. There's a lot that goes on to it, and I think we're starting to see the start of something new as we continue to play volleyball. I feel like I've been talking about this for years and just like no one really has just been able to explain it. I should start a new account just to talk about training. Nah.
But I think, yeah, lifting to failure, you want to lift close to failure a lot of times, but lifting to failure all the time, I think it's super taxing, right?
Yeah,
so taxing.
I used to do this thing where it's like always lift to failure, like on when I first started working out, okay, let's just go to failure for like every single workout just to burn it out.
Yeah.
That didn't last long.
It does not.
I like burned
It really
myself so
doesn't.
bad. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, I'm never doing this again.
I feel like, yeah, a lot of
train smarter, not harder, guys. There's a lot of good programs out there. I personally use this app called Volt Athletics. It's I mean, I don't get anything for saying this, but I like the simplicity of it. I can always add more exercise if I want to, just to kind of de-stress. But Volt Athletics, very, very cool app. Let me just kind of show you guys what it's about. It looks like this orange thing right here. I'm just going to click on it. Oh, shoot. I lost it. You open it up. When is it going to show up? Oh, my God. What if I turn off the light? That definitely doesn't work. All right, guys. So I don't even know what my password is. But anyway, Volt Athletics, guys, makes it very, very simple to actually like program for yourself. You put in the day you want to train. You put in your off season. You put in when season starts, when season ends. I'm personally doing like the quarterly one because I like to switch to Olympic weightlifting sometimes, but that's just me. So yeah, not an ad, but free ad, I guess. Whatever. They should give me that stuff for free.
of us were in that where it's like I gotta go until I can't move the weight,
Yeah.
like, and then next thing you know, you're like a week later, I'm still sore. Like, why am I still sore? And it's like, oh well. But there's definitely times, like say for a bicep curl, you know, you're doing bicep to failure, yeah, right?
Yeah,
like
it's
that's
not
sure.
too bad.
But something like a trap bar deadlift, doing a failure all the time is, yeah, you're definitely gonna fry yourself.
This one, 5 reps again.
Yeah, let's push for 5.
Good form.
Reset it. So we'll just do a little bit of hamstring accessory work. Ideally, like I said, once again, how far you're in a program, how much volume you need. You could do some like split squats, some lunges right after.
Sweet.
You know, some hip hinging stuff. But for now, we'll just do a little bit of hamstring accessory work, and then we'll just do a little bit of core rotation too. So this one's just gonna be single leg, kind of focusing on that eccentric motion.
This is already
So
hard, guys.
We're gonna have our hips up, one leg up.
This
We'll
is
try to
really
go
hard.
for a nice, 5-second here, all the way out.
Very important for
Holding
hand
it-
health.
Holding it for 1, 2, drop, and then back in. So just nice and slow. Gonna feel that hamstring firing, and then down.
And drop.
This is good for ACL
5 reps with that kind of 5-second
injuries,
hold.
prevention, ACL
5
injury
seconds.
prevention.
Negative eccentric movement.
Do I want this one a little bit closer?
Yeah, you can kind of go as close as you want. You probably won't feel the hang actually activated till like a certain point. And then you
Really
can think,
kinda
yeah, like
slow
1,
moving down.
2, 3, 4, 5. You kind of should be at the end there.
I think I went too slow.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's depending on what you're doing, you can go slower, you can go faster, but for right now, yeah, like a nice 5-second one. 4, 5, hold for a second or two, good.
Yeah, but when I'm like here, that is when I feel the hand.
Yeah, and you start really feeling it, yeah.
Yeah. They said like 5 on each, like
Yeah.
4 or 5 on each side.
3 to 5 would be, pretty decent for something like this. See you, dude. Yeah, try to keep those hips up. Scan, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this one feels great on the hamstrings.
Gym floor with a shirt. Don't necessarily need a slider. Even sometimes your sock and a floor would be fine.
Yeah, that one felt great.
That was good.
Definitely felt it in the hamstrings, so.
Oh yeah, a lot harder than he looks. I know. Yeah, I think a lot of hamstring work is probably overlooked in not necessarily athletics, but people when they go to the gym, it's usually
Yeah.
like, I want these nice massive quads, right?
Yeah,
I want that.
the fastest
Yeah.
medium. Your teardrops.
But the hamstrings, yeah, is so important too. So I'd rather like if I only had
Hamstring, very, very important for injury prevention since we're so quad dominant.
time to do quad versus hamstring, I'd probably pick a hamstring work, especially like in a jumping sport. And then this one's just gonna be a little bit of hanging rotation. So want those knees at like 90 degrees, want the toes flexed. I also want to kind of try to maintain the same foot posture as I'm moving. So gonna be hanging, nice, engage the core, try and keep the feet, the knees together, and I'm just trying to rotate my lower back and my hips, and then back to the other way. Trying to keep that nice 90 degrees, and then
I'm
back
assuming
down.
hip flexors would fire
So,
up
same.
core obliques, all that good stuff.
more advanced, you could like put a plate, you could put a ball between your legs.
Oh, that'll be tough.
More, I guess, beginner, you could kind of just lay on the ground and then, you know,
Just rotate from
yeah,
there.
just rotate on the floor. So
So guys, the cool thing about this, you actually don't need a gym. If you have a pull-up bar at home, that's awesome. Or just go to a park, honestly.
yeah, actually, park workouts are super underrated.
Not bad.
And yeah, either like 5 to 8 each way, depending on feeling. And right now, Marco's doing a good job of not using any momentum, not swinging. His core super engaged because he's controlled. The whole movement is controlled. Once again, a movement that looks easy, but it's hard. It's definitely hard.
The hardest thing is not, I think for me, it's just hanging there,
Yeah.
especially like holding on to this. I tried out bouldering like a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
So my forearms are firing.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't tried bouldering, it's super fun, but a lot harder than it looks.
The grip strength, that's what, yeah.
So bad. Sometimes if I'm driving, like I rest my hands like this on the steering wheel just to stretch. So in terms of sets and reps, you want like ideally between 5 and 8 on each side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it'd be nice. And that's the thing, like the slower you go, obviously you can kind of lower those rep ranges too. But you're going nice, super slow and controlled. So like if you got 5 each side, I think that would be a good workout by just kind of for this one. So yeah, just like a lot of people don't necessarily throw rotational core workouts into their exercising routine. So
like me.
a lot of just that
Here.
back and
Six
forth
back
crunches.
But actually we'll do one more that I like for rotational work, one more core thing. These are called pretzels.
We love pretzels. I might not like these though,
But yeah, so starting on a bench is kind of, or you could do it on the ground as the beginner, I guess. It would be kind of like here and then all the way around. It's kind of like the beginner, I guess you could do. And then on the bench would be hands out. And you're trying to go as kind of far as you can this way, touch,
Oh, interesting.
then all the way
Yeah, I've
around,
seen
that
this one
rotation,
before.
and then back, and then kind of switch legs there. Can't do it on my left
Sweet.
leg, but yeah. And then once again, like a couple of these are good.
Again, he's got an injury on his left leg, so he's not going to demo. That's it.
And, yeah, nice. Trying to use that, those obliques bring your leg back.
And do you want me to like alternate legs?
Yeah, and then you switch feet. And honestly, 1 to 5
this
reps
music
each
is a
side of this
throwback
is
right now.
like probably a good point to start with.
So obviously I'm not as mobile as Jordan, but exactly not yet. Work for it.
Nice.
Holy.
Good one. Yeah. So yeah, then if you would want to step it up even more, you could put your feet on like a ball, and then that one's because then as you rotate over, your leg goes the other way, and then that one's a killer. I'm probably get 3 reps each side, and I'm just toasted after that one. But,
Yeah, that'll be tough.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all the time we have for our first session.
Worked.
So yeah, like what you use a lot of simple movements that just involve the body weight, the most you can just do with the band, with very minimal, a lot of explosive work, and 2, heavy workouts. And I'm worked.
He's cooked, bro. Let him.
Oh yeah, so I had a couple sets on the table, but yeah, man, just biggest thing I said, don't skip out on your simple stuff. If you guys want to get on in the same workout that I'm doing, to try and build just general strength and performance in volleyball, especially with all of your jumping mechanics that you guys have been asking me about, check out Jordan. Again, we will have his link down in the description. It's gonna be right here as
the
well.
promo.
So yeah, thank you again, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it, dude.
Don't skip out on the simple
I'm going to add to this.
Right.
Gonna add to this. Yeah, guys, check out Jordan. He knows his stuff. Just by watching this interaction, he definitely understands the strength and conditioning side when it comes to working with athletes. And it looks like he has worked with athletes before. He's a volleyball player himself. He's passionate about the sport. He talks about the science of it. And, I'm positive, obviously, as an athlete, and I've also done this too, he has also applied his training programs with himself as well. I've also done the same thing. Do I have any programs? No. Go check out Jordan, guys. I'm not going to make programs for you guys. I'm too busy for that. But yeah, anyway, guys, in the next one.